All right, now let's look at this scenario where the vendor require a list of IP addresses for the firewall allow list. We need to follow Google's recommended practices, avoiding traffic interruption from IP changes, and we need to make sure the solution is stable. Option A, single node with static IP disables autoscaler, limits scalability, and risk downtime if the node fails. It's incorrect. Now let's move to option B. If you want the PDF version of this course, please enroll in Diamond membership or above by clicking the join button now. Once enrolled, please connect and inbox me on LinkedIn at the rate of Cloud Guru Amit or Instagram at the rate of Amit Physique. I'll be glad to help you out with the PDF version of this course and hands-on files if available for this course. Option B says configure the Google Kubernetes engine cluster with private nodes, set up a Cloud NAT instance with static IPs, and provide those IPs to the vendor. Private node with Cloud NAT static IPs centralize outbound traffic, ensures consistent IPs for firewall allow listing, and align with Google best practices for secure, cost efficient connectivity. Let's keep it. Now, option C, dynamic IP from CloudNAT can change unpredictably, breaking vendor firewall rules and causing traffic interruptions. Wrong choice. We'll move to D. Option D, collecting public node IPs daily adds operational overhead, risk delays in updates, and exposes nodes publicly, which is less secure. Wrong answer. Will lock option B as the correct choice. Let's bring the hay to the snow. We need to quickly restore the previous stable state of the deployment. Option A, deleting the deployment removes all configuration and workloads, forcing a full redeployment instead of a rollback. Incorrect. We'll move to B. Option B, kubectl rollout restart only restarts pods with the current configuration. It doesn't restore the previous version. Wrong answer. We'll move to C. C says use the kubectl rollout undo command to revert the deployment. Kubectl rollout undo reverts the deployment to the last stable revision, ensuring a fast rollback without manual intervention. Let's keep this. Let's move to option D. Option D, manually scaling pods is error prone, requires manual tracking of versions, and doesn't guarantee consistency across replicas. We'll remove it. Let's lock option C as the right answer. Alright, we got a brainstorming question where the platform should support hardware accelerators, handle scaling efficiently, and provide flexibility for machine learning workloads. Option A, data flow is optimized for ETL and stream or batch data processing, not for distributed machine learning training. Incorrect. We'll move to B. Option B, compute engine managed groups provide raw virtual machines but lack containerized scaling and efficient accelerator scheduling. Wrong answer. We'll move to now option C. Option C, Cloud Run supports stateless services and limited GPU workloads, unsuitable for long running fine tuning tasks. Will eliminate it. Let's move to option D. It says use Google Kubernetes Engine GKE with hardware accelerators to run fine tune workloads. Google Kubernetes Engine with hardware accelerators enables containerized machine learning training, efficient scaling, and flexible infrastructure for fine tuning large language models. Looks good. We'll lock option D as the right choice. Okay. So we need to deliver high performance, minimize schema and app code changes, handle more than 120 terabyte of data per region, aligning with Google's best practices and reducing operational cost. So which database service should be used? Option A says move the PostgreSQL database into AlloyDB. AlloyDB is PostgreSQL compatible, delivers advanced query optimization and storage improvements, and requires minimum schema or code changes. So it satisfies all the requirement of the question here. Let's keep it. Now option B, Spanner supports global scale but forces schema redesign and application rewrites, which will increase migration effort, leading to operational cost. Wrong answer. Let's move to option C. Option C, Firebase is built for mobile or web apps, not large relational workloads, and cannot handle 120 terabyte scale. Wrong answer. We'll move to now option D. Option D, Big Table is a NoSQL wide column store, not relational, and lacks PostgreSQL schema compatibility. We'll remove it. Let's lock option A as the right choice. Alright, now let's tackle this scenario where the solution should minimize cost, automatic retry failed runs, and should align with Google's best practices for scheduled workloads. Option A, Google Kubernetes Engine cron job requires a running cluster, which incurs fixed cost even when jobs are idle, and retry logic must be custom built. Hence incorrect. Let's move to an option B. Option B, Cloud Run services are designed for request driven workloads. Batch execution requires extra logic for retries and state handling. Wrong answer. We'll move to C. C says build the batch application and deploy it as a Cloud Run job. Configure Cloud Scheduler to trigger the job and leverage built-in retry policies for failed execution. Cloud Run jobs are designed for scheduled batch workloads. Scale to 0 when idle, include automatic retry support, and minimize operational cost. Let's keep option C. Now option D, Google Kubernetes Engine deployment with scheduler introduces unnecessary cluster overhead, lacks native retry for batch jobs, and increases maintenance effort. Let's remove it. We'll lock option C as the right answer. Alright, here we go with a brainstorming question where we need to ensure the cloud billing datasets are exported into BigQuery so the team can query and analyze spending patterns. Option A says configure cloud billing data export to BigQuery at the time of creating the cloud billing account. Cloud billing export pushes detailed usage and cost data into BigQuery automatically, enabling query-based cost analysis without extra configuration. Let's keep it. Now option B, linking a billing account only enables billing for the project. It doesn't export datasets into BigQuery. Incorrect. We'll move to now option C. Option C, BigQuery data transfer service moves external source data like ads or YouTube, not cloud billing datasets. So price data alone is incomplete. Incorrect. Now let's move to option D. Option D, enabling BigQuery API and IAM rules, provides dataset access but doesn't configure billing data export. Leaving no billing records in BigQuery will remove it. Let's lock option A as the right answer. Alrighty, so this is a multiple choice question. We need to reduce latency for users worldwide, ensure scalability across regions, follow Google's recommended practices, and keep infrastructure cost manageable. Option A, regional application load balancer only balances traffic inside one region, leaving global users with higher latency. Incorrect. Let's move to option B. B says deploy virtual machines across multiple Google Cloud regions closest to your user base. Deploying virtual machines in multiple regions places workloads closer to users, reducing latency and improving responsiveness. Let's keep it. Now, option C, network load balancer works at layer 4 of the OSI model, which lacks global distribution and doesn't optimize latency for worldwide traffic. We'll eliminate it. Let's move to D. Option D says configure an external application load balancer in global mode to distribute requests worldwide. Global application load balancer distributes traffic across regions, supports worldwide scaling, and reduces latency for international users. Looks good. We'll lock option B and D as the right answers. So please don't go away. Let's meet in next part of the series. If you want the PDF version of this course, please enroll in Diamond membership or above by clicking the join button now. Once enrolled, please connect and inbox me on LinkedIn at the rate of Cloud Guru Amit or Instagram at the rate of Amit Physique. I'll be glad to help you out with the PDF version of this course and hands-on files if available for this course. Thank you so much for watching this video.